Excellencies, it is a great honor to join this distinguished group today on behalf of the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons, to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the opening of the signature of the African Nuclear Weapon Free Zone Treaty, the Treaty of Pelindaba. For decades, African states have led on issues of nuclear disarmament. Africa was among the first regions to decide on a continental nuclear weapon-free zone in the 1960s, following the French nuclear tests in Algeria. And ever since the declaration of the denuclearization of Africa in 1964, African states have repeatedly called for nuclear disarmament. The Treaty of Pelindaba, a pillar of the African peace and security architecture, is the testimony of this leadership. As we gather today, the risks of use of nuclear weapons remain high as during the peak of the Cold War. And although Africa may be free of nuclear weapons, the continent is not free of the catastrophic effects. And it's not free of the risks. The use of nuclear weapons anywhere would result in catastrophic humanitarian consequences that would quickly ripple across the world. No state or region is immune to these consequences. Even a limited nuclear war involving a small fraction of the world's nuclear weapons would severely disrupt the climate and agricultural production, resulting in widespread famine. And nuclear weapon-free zones have pioneered the efforts to prohibit these weapons of mass destruction and have been leading the way in preparing for a world free of nuclear weapons. On 22nd of January this year, we reached a major milestone on our common quest to nuclear weapons abolition, when the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons entered into force. This treaty, the first globally applicable multilateral agreement to prohibit nuclear weapons comprehensively, is a monumental accomplishment. It complements and reinforces earlier treaties, including the NPT, the CTBT, and it helps transform the regional norms enshrined in nuclear weapon-free zone treaties into global norms. In light of this synergy between the TPNW and the Treaty of Pelindaba, it comes as no surprise that African states played a leading role in the negotiations, adoption, and promotion of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. In 2017, 42 African states voted in favor of the treaty's adoption. And since then, 29 African states have signed it, and 8 have now already ratified the treaty. And on behalf of ICANN, I wish to thank you and congratulate African states and all states that contributed to its creation, its adoption, and its entry into force, and now towards its universalization. I wish to thank also the African Union and AFCON for their support and collaboration over a number of years, including through their calls on all AU member states to develop every effort to build on this dynamic move towards regional and global peace and security through the signature and ratification of the Pelindaba Treaty and the TPNW. And ICANN echoes this call for all African states who have not yet joined the Treaty of Pelindaba to do so. Indeed, given the complementarity between the Treaty of Pelindaba and the TPNW, progress in implementing one supports implementation in the other. They together strengthen the global norm against the use and possession of nuclear weapons by any state and make an important contribution to their total elimination. Each state that joins the Pelindaba Treaty reinforces the global norms against nuclear weapons, just as every state that joins the TPNW reinforces the Treaty of Pelindaba, other nuclear weapon-free zones, and other instruments. Just as we saw, for instance, the Union of Comoros ratified the TPNW in February, while at the same time ratifying the CTBT. Other African states that have already ratified the TPNW are Benin, Botswana, the Gambia, Lesotho, Namibia, Nigeria, and South Africa. 2 important gatherings will take place in the coming months: the Conference of States Parties to Pelindaba, as well as the first meeting of states parties to the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons in January 2022. This offers a good opportunity to grow African member states for the TPNW and that of Pelindaba. And African states, unlike certain states in other parts of the world, have collectively taken a firm principled position against the most egregious, indiscriminately destructive weapon ever. Together, you have declared, with great conviction and clarity, that these weapons are unacceptable and illegal and must be totally abolished before they are ever used again. It is a stance in which all Africans can take pride. You have set the example for the rest of the world to follow. So thank you.